Welcome to the IGDP. Name's Hayes, and on this podcast we will discuss the experiences and life of indie game developers as they work towards making their dream games a reality. Hopefully we'll learn something along the way. On today's episode, we are graced by AJ, a Venezuelan game developer who has already released the first and second of many chapters of his carnivorous bunny stealth platformer, aptly named A Pretty Odd Bunny. We get to know AJ, how long he's been developing games for, and how he started without prior programming experience. We hear more about his game and what AJ thinks could change about the game industry. Please check out AJ's Twitter and find his game A Pretty Odd Bunny on the Android Play Store. Links are in the description. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Alright. Hi, AJ.
Hi there.
Second ever guest. So let's get to know you better and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. First of all, just for any listeners already, we live in quite different time zones, so any delay in the audio is because there's a bit of latency. So AJ, I am going to ask you a few questions, and they're quick-fire questions, so you just reply with the first answer that you think is correct. Don't take too long answering them. Are you ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay. PC or consoles?
Consoles.
Hamburger or pizza?
Hamburger.
Mario Party or Fall Guys?
Mario Party.
Okay. Favorite fruit?
Sushi.
Sushi's not a fruit. Oh, but you thought I said food.
I thought you said food.
No, fruit.
Fruit. Strawberry.
Strawberry. All right. Apple or Android?
Android.
Zelda games or Mario games?
Oh, that's easy. Zelda.
Okay. Xbox or PS4?
Xbox.
Xbox or Nintendo Switch?
Nintendo Switch.
Okay. Epic Games or Steam?
Epic. Epic Games.
Last one. Is pineapple okay on pizza?
Is absolutely okay.
Okay. Well, that's disgusting, but all right. Then we know what kind of guy you are.
That has to be a question you ask people when you know them. The first time you see someone, hey, hello, do you like pineapple on pizza?
Yeah, and then you know if you should be friends with them or not. Yeah, so AJ, let's hear about you. Who are you?
Okay. Well, my name is Aníbal Jose Ordaz, but everybody calls me AJ because, well, it's easy. I'm 37 years old, I think.
Okay.
And I'm currently living in Colombia. And I am an instructional designer.
You're a what?
Instructional designer.
Instructional designer.
Yeah, nobody knows what that is.
No. Explain, what is that?
Basically, I work with education.
Okay.
Pretty much e-learning. Yes, we have to develop tools or content for people to learn certain skills.
Mm-hmm.
Or, for example, a company needs to train their employees on certain skill. We make a program or a course, an online course, to teach that content,
mm-hmm.
or to train that people.
So what part of that do you do?
Basically, the designing the content.
Okay, so you're designing what it looks like, or
what it looks like, what content we use, what the best way to teach every content, what tools we can use, if it is a video, if it is better with a game, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you made a game for a customer for training?
I made a game, not for a customer, but when I was studying for instructional designer, I made a game to teach history.
Mm-hmm.
It was my thesis.
How did that go? Did you get a good grade?
It went well, yeah. It is from 1 to 20, and I got a 20.
All right, okay, really good. So let me ask, what's the story behind your interest in game development?
Well, let's see. A lot of people say they dream about this the whole life. I can say that when I was a kid, I didn't think I was going to be developing games. I thought that was impossible. I didn't even imagine that some people were behind those games and making those games. I just thought the games were awesome, and that was it. But I like to write stories. I rather write stories. I like to draw
Mm-hmm.
the character from those stories. And I remember I had an old computer, and my uncle gave to me,
Mm-hmm.
and it had this program that I could use to animate some stuff. It wasn't for animation; it was a drawing tool, but it was so slow that every time that you made, let's imagine we make a stickman,
Mm-hmm.
and then you made the other pose with the stickman, but with an arm in a different position. And I was doing that and that and that, and the program was so slow that when the computer tried to render all these images, it looked like it was animated, and it looked like the character was moving.
Oh.
And I saw that, and I spent days and days and days. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
for how long I was doing all this animation and imagining that they were season of some TV show or something like that. And I was doing this and showing it to my family. I think that was the first time that I tried to do something that was kind of close to games.
Mm-hmm. But it was just animation.
It was animation, yeah. And well, after that, I didn't talk anything related to games until I was doing this thesis
Mm-hmm.
for my master degree. A lot of years after that, and I wanted to make this game to teach something.
Mm-hmm.
And first, I have this idea of making a video game, but I didn't know how to program. So I ended up making a board game,
Okay.
and that was my thesis for to get in that degree. And then I say, well, I was studying to be an instructional designer, and I say, well, it is maybe a good time to try making a game now.
Mm-hmm.
It was a career that was closer to computer, and I tried to take that idea of a game and making it into a video game, and started digging and seeing some tools, and tried with RPG Maker, tried with Game Maker,
Mm-hmm.
and none of those clicked with me.
Okay.
Until I found Construct. I found Construct 2, and this is a software the premise is that you can make a game without programming knowledge.
Okay.
And I say, well, this is for me because I know anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about programming. And try and started practicing with it, and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, and that tool allowed me to start making games. I made my game for my thesis there, and while working on that, I made several other smaller games while I was learning the tool.
Mm.
That was around 7 years ago.
Okay. 7 years ago. So when did you do your thesis?
Yeah,
How old were you?
I was around. Oh, yeah, I think it was more than 7 years ago. I was around 20 something, 25 years old.
Okay. So where did you do your education?
I studied in Venezuela.
Aha.
I was born in Venezuela.
Okay. So, is that how you know? How do you know Adrian, if I can ask that?
That's a funny story because I had never seen Adrian in real life.
Okay.
And he's from a city that is very close to mine.
Mm-hmm.
But we only know each other from a couple of years ago. We are in this Nintendo fans group.
Mm-hmm.
It's called NBC. It is a fan community for Nintendo.
Yeah.
And we joined this group, and we started talking through that. And one day found out, I don't know how, but I found out that he was from Maturin.
Mm-hmm.
Maturin. It's a city that is very, very close to where I grew up. And we started talking and discovered he was from there. And well, started knowing each other from there.
Yeah.
But he was already living in Canada, and I was already living here in Colombia.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But like, did you know that you were like when you met, you both did game development? Is that how you?
Oh yeah. We have that in common. Yeah, we started talking about Nintendo in the group.
Okay.
But well, through those conversations, we discovered that we both were developing games and have all those things in common. We were from the same country. We were developing games both. So it was great.
Yeah. That's great that you also have someone you could speak. Oh no. What is it Venezuelan speak?
What?
What is it Venezuelan speak?
Oh, Spanish. We speak Spanish.
Spanish. Okay, thanks. I didn't even want to say anything because I would have been wrong.
The first time we start speaking English. I write English a lot better than I speak.
Mm-hmm.
And we started talking in English, and suddenly Adrian say, wait, I realized I can speak Spanish with you, and from there on we only write and talk in Spanish.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I would do the same thing, to be honest.
I can use the practice.
Oh yeah, no worries. You'll get your practice now while we're recording. It's perfect. Yeah, I was gonna ask if you had any formal education in game development, but I'm gonna assume that you don't.
Yeah, I don't have any formal education.
But you have education in artistry, like or do you have education in drawing?
No, I studied to be a teacher. I went to the university to be a teacher, science teacher, to be more specific. And
okay.
then when I finished that, I took a master's degree in instructional design. That's kind of close to game, I think, because it's closer to design, and I always say I'm a game designer and not a game developer. So at least I think of myself that way. But no, I learned to do the art and to make the games using Construct on my own while I was doing this thesis. I had to learn both of those things to make the game.
Okay. Yeah, and then I'm gonna have to ask, how long have you been doing game development for?
Well, yeah, we mentioned before. I thought it was 7 years, but I kind of think now that it has been like 10 to 11, 12 years now.
Is time passing?
It is a long time. It is a long time. Yeah. I was sure it was 7 years, but I think it was 10.
We'll stay at 7+ years then we don't have to dig more in that. Yeah. So, do you have any strategies or tools that help you stay focused throughout the day?
Well, let's see. I don't think that happened in this house. In this house, it's very difficult to focus. Okay. I live with my wife, and we have a 3 years old. And especially this year, where school is closed, she's been here 24 hours a day. And well, we learn. My wife and I just have to learn to do things without focusing too much. We have to keep an eye on her and keep another eye trying to work. And well.
So, do you work from home now?
Yeah, I've been working from home for at least 5 years that I'm here. Before all this started, we both were working from home, and yeah, what we do is that we try to have a space in the house where we can sit down and work. mostly joking with that, no? with my daughter. She's always around, but we are trying to teach her that when we are working, she can be playing or doing her own stuff while we are trying to focus on work. And no, what I try to do is listen to some music. And when there's a lot of stuff to do that day, we try to accommodate our tasks so we can, when I am working, my wife is taking care of the kid.
So you're swapping.
And then we then swap and she works while I play with her and like that. We try to help each other.
So, like, is it? I guess this whole virus thing hasn't really.
In some way, it was kind of funny because we saw every one of our friends going crazy because of the quarantine, and we were like, well, this is kind of what we do every day. This is kind of normal for us.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's always difficult. It adds a lot of stuff, not only working from home, but having the kid all day here. We had to accommodate some other stuff. It always affects in some way. But no, you asked me what tools, what strategies. Well, we try to just to have a task list. I use Trello.
Yeah.
To have my to-do list and well, that helped me at least have an idea of the roadmap that I have for the game. I didn't use that before, but I started this year. Yeah, I started this year using it, and it's been.
Yeah, you definitely should keep using it as well. It's very nice for software tasks as well. Yeah, so what is one skill you've had to learn while you've developed games that's outside of your original skill set, and how did you realize that you had to learn it?
Everything.
Okay.
Games. I always say, I always have this conversation with people that games for me are a form of art, and convinced of that. And games incorporate several elements. You have to think of the code, or you also have to think about the graphics and the music and everything. And I didn't have anything of that, but I wanted to make a game. So Construct helped me with the programming part in some way because they say you don't need to program to make a game with Construct, but that's not really true. You have to program.
Yeah,
it's only that you use a visual scripting. You don't have to type the code, or you are programming the same. But I had to learn that too, and I also have to learn to do the graphics because I dropped a little bit when I was younger, but I didn't really take it too seriously until I started making games, and never did it with a software. So I have to learn how to do that, how to make my own graphics, and yeah, programming graphics. The only thing I didn't even try to do was the music. I'm terrible with that. So I'm lucky to have someone that's working with me on that front.
Okay, so you're outsourcing it. It's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So you're doing art for your game. Like, do you use a Cintiq, or what, do you draw on a tablet, or how do you do that?
I do everything with a mouse. I use a program called Inkscape.
Inkscape, okay.
It's a free software. Yeah, it's a free software similar to Illustrator. And I try using a tablet, but never worked for me.
No.
So I learn with the mouse and stick with that.
Oh no, okay. But when you're doing it for your job, but did you provide drawings for the job as well?
No.
Do you also do that with just your mouse?
No. With my job, I only do the instructional design that will be making sure that selecting the tools and the content that will be used in the course. But yeah, but that is more like using. It's more about making a prototype. It doesn't have to have the final graphics. So I don't do it for that.
Okay.
And I do it for my games and when I do freelance stuff for other people related to games.
I'm sorry if I'm asking a lot of questions about your job. I don't know what it is because I've never heard about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No, it is a very well-known career.
No, the position. No, yeah.
But it's great. I like it because it is. Well, I mentioned it before. I studied to be a teacher, but I didn't really want to be on a school or on a classroom. I tried to do it for a while, but never liked it. And with instructional design, I get to still work in education, but I can do it in a different way.
Can do it from home.
Make the content. Yeah, I can do it from home, and I can make the content, and people can take that content and use it, but in their own way.
Yeah. So, what are some of your favorite video games, and why are they your favorite video games?
Favorite video games. I have a top 3.
Okay.
I can never decide about
tell us the 3 then. Or 5.
The 3 are my favorite games is Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Cave Story, and Hollow Knight.
Ooh, Cave Story. I'm with you there.
Cave Story is fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
That was the game. That was the game that kind of made me decide I wanted to make games, because I told you before how I started, but it was for education. It was for my career, but when I decided to start making games on my own and as an indie developer, it was because Cave Story and the story behind the game. It was developed by one person. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
fantastic.
That's what I remembered. Yeah, it's just one guy. It's really impressive. So holy shit.
Yeah, he make even the music. So it's on another level.
It's all how the hell. So why do you like those games? Like why Breath of the Wild?
I think I don't know. I think I also mentioned I like stories. I like to write stories, and when I approach games, it was because I wanted to tell those stories in a different way, in a fun way. People around me didn't really went too much into books, into reading. So when every time I finish a tale, I will try to show them to people, and everybody was like, "Okay, fine, yeah, it's cool."
Yeah.
But never click with them. So I was playing a lot of RPGs back then, and JRPG especially, and the story is very important in these games. So I say, well, maybe I can tell the stories in a different way, so people can connect more and have fun while reading the story, while getting the story. And I think Breath of the Wild, all 3 games, Cave Story and Hollow Knight, do that as well. They kind of connect the story with the gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something I like.
It's subtle. Yeah, like it's not just in your face.
Yeah, it is not just about cut scenes and like a movie. You feel there's nothing wrong with that. I also like games that have a lot of cutscenes, but there's something different, something special when a game manages to connect the story with the gameplay, and you don't even notice that you are going through the story. Like Breath of the Wild gets a lot of hate because of the story, but I love it. I think it's great, and the way they managed to put the story and make it part of the gameplay, something you discover instead of something that you get thrown in your face.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just I love it.
And also, I mean, Breath of the Wild was an open world game, so getting story into that is already very difficult. So I feel like they also kind of pulled it off pretty well.
I think Hollow Knight does something similar. They use the world and the environment to tell the story.
I haven't actually played Hollow Knight. I've played all the other games you mentioned.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, I should.
You should. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I have a big backlog of games I'll never get around to playing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Outside those 3 games, I also like Chrono Triggers a lot.
Oh, Chrono Trigger, yeah.
And probably every Mario game they have made, especially Super Mario Land 2. Mm-hmm. I think that's my favorite.
Do you actually like Super Mario 64? Because I'm replaying it right now and I just want to kill myself. It's so difficult.
Okay. That's a thing.
Okay.
I told you about the group where Adrian and I are about the group about Nintendo, and that's having a thing for since the games were announced. The camera in Super Mario 64.
Yeah, it's hell. Oh my god.
I play back in the N64 days, and I don't remember it was like that.
No, you've gotten used to it being better.
I was replaying now in the new release, and yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I agree. I have died so many times to just the camera being crap. So, god damn it.
It's an important game, Super Mario 64, and I think it's an important game, but it didn't age that well.
Yeah, no, it didn't. But it's fun to speedrun, but they've ruined that on the Switch since they removed the backward long jumps on the stairs, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there something in particular in a game you really adore? Like a game mechanic or sound design or anything of that sort?
Well, let's see. Yeah.
You kind of mentioned story being told like not explicitly.
I don't want to repeat myself, but I think it will be that when games manage to do that, to connect story with gameplay, to find ways to tell a story in clever ways, in different ways. I think that will be. I played recently Firewatch.
Oh yeah.
That's a game that people will say it's just a walking simulator. It's not really a game, but I think it is, and I think it was great. And that game did that. They told the story through the gameplay. Even when you were walking around this environment, and you can hear the characters speaking to each other while you walk.
Yeah, it's a good way to do exposition.
Yeah. Oxenfree is another game that do that.
I played Firewatch, but not Oxenfree.
It does something similar. You are walking around in the game. You are moving, making progress in the levels, and while you are doing that, you can hear the character speaking, and you can make selections. The game doesn't stop you to tell you the story. It's tied to the gameplay.
I will try it. I'll add that to my backlog as well. Yeah, so what's a typical day in your life like right now? Like, when do you get up? Then what do you do?
Okay. Let's see. I mentioned I mentioned my daughter. So basically our days are built around her.
Okay.
We wake up. I wake up at around 8 in the morning, and well, I don't know. I start playing with her for some time. Then we take breakfast. Then my wife and I sit to start working, to start our day, and we take a break for lunch, Then our daughter go to sleep, and we keep working a little more.
Okay.
Until around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Then normally I start playing something. Recently, my daughter love to watch me play. She can move the character yet, but she love to watch me play Animal Crossing and Paper Mario.
Okay.
Recently, we have been playing that. It is like her thing now. Every time she wakes up in the afternoon, she comes to look for me to play Paper Mario or Mr. Nook. She calls Animal Crossing Mr. Nook.
Oh, well, it makes sense. It's pretty much all about him anyway.
Oh, yeah. And well, I play for a while, and then I think they normally go to sleep. Both of them go to sleep around 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I come back to my laptop, and if I'm not too tired, I try to work in the game a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Normally in the morning I work with my former job, and then morning and yeah, I try to around noon be done with that, so I can work on my game the rest of the day. Sometimes I have to do it at night, but yeah.
So how long do you work on your game daily, like hour-wise?
I have this thing. I like to work on my game on my own. So this allows me to have a little bit of room for doing things differently every day. I don't like to have a structured schedule.
No, okay.
For the game daily, but I like to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Something at least anything, something small, but make some progress every day. Let's say I try to work at least 1 hour or 2 hours every day. But like I tell you, it could be only 1 hour. It could be 5 hours if it is on a weekend. But I try to don't force myself to rigid schedule. I try to be more flexible with that, but I try to do at least something every day.
Okay, I mean that's good as long as you keep going, because it's not like once you're kind of out of it, it's really hard to get started again. At least I feel like that.
Yeah, totally.
And what is the most annoying bug you've had to deal with, and how did you solve it?
Okay, most annoying bug. Well, let's see. I always have trouble making menus. I don't know why. I was talking with Adrian a while ago, and I think I tweeted something, and he said, "Really, I love making menus." Yeah, come on.
Who loves making menus? Anyway, yeah.
That's the worst. That's the worst part of the game. I don't like it. It's always something that doesn't. There is always something that doesn't work like I want. A button will highlight, but another button is activated, or the menu will crash, and people can move around to the options. Yeah. So it's always a mess. It's always take me a lot to get it right.
So is it just that the menu doesn't work? That's the biggest bug for you, or?
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I always have. I don't remember an actual bug, but I remember that there is these things that always cause troubles when I develop a game. It is the menus and the save feature. Every time I try to make a save feature, something goes off.
Okay.
And the game sometimes can save, sometimes doesn't save. And that's a big problem because when someone is playing your game for, like, I don't know, an hour, and then they lose their file, their save file, Yeah, that can be a big problem because most of the time they just don't want to go anywhere near the game again.
Mm.
So
I mean, have you had
yeah,
issues with this? Like now
yeah,
in your released games, or?
yeah, I do. I have.
Okay.
When I release the first part of the game, I have a couple of comments about that.
Okay.
The first build of the game wasn't saving like at all. People play and then close again, and when they come back, they start at the beginning.
Oh no.
And it was something very stupid. It was just a line of code, but well, it was there. And I tried to fix it as quick as possible and update the game. But well, I think I lost at least a couple of players that day.
Oh no. Oh well, hopefully it'll go better next time.
No, those two things are always on my top of the to-do list. Every time I will release something, those are the two things that I had highlighted. These two have to work well.
Yeah, okay. That's good. It's good that you keep it in mind.
Yeah.
So, is there some work that you've done you're particularly proud of, and why?
Okay, I think that will have to be the game I'm currently working on.
Okay.
Yeah, when I started, I made a lot of smaller games,
Mm-hmm.
mostly web games, and some of them were good, some were terrible, but I was learning, trying to learn to improve with graphics, with the coding, and after all these years, I say, well, I think I'm kind of ready to make something a bit more serious, and I started working on this game, and the plan from the start was that this will be my first commercial game. So it took a lot of time, but I tried to apply here everything I learned from those other games,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think it's going well. I'm proud of the final result.
That's great. I guess we'll see, and we'll also talk more about the games specifically soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's the best work environment for you? Like being alone, or working when someone else is there, or quiet? I know you can't have quiet and being alone, but yeah, what works best for you?
Yeah, I got used to working in the current environment. I think if I ever stay alone and quiet, I will feel I won't feel good. I will feel something is off.
Yeah, okay. So Stockholm syndrome.
But yeah, no, no. I think I prefer working alone on my games. I don't know. I think when that's a problem because teamwork is an important skill.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I work better if I have my own schedule and can do things my way, and yeah, I like to work on my games on my own. I like the environment to be quiet, but I always have some music playing around, and I normally listen to video game music. Anything without lyrics will work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, what is your dream scenario regarding game development? Like, do you want to be financially independent, or do you want to make your dream game, or do you want to own a company, or, yeah, what's your dream scenario with this game development stuff?
Oh well, yeah. Of course, I would like to be financially independent. So yes, because but that is because I would like to work on my games 100% of the time. I don't. So right now, I keep saying words in Spanish from time to time. Right now, I can work on my game only like I mentioned before, like 2 to 3 hours daily, and that is mostly at nights or during the weekend. But the perfect scenario for me will be if I can dedicate the whole day to do this. So I can do this for a living, and well, to do that, unfortunately, you have to be financially independent.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so yeah, that come first. And but not only that, I would like to. There is this game I want to make. I want to make an action RPG.
Okay.
The based in Latin American culture, on some Latin American culture. That's something that have been in my mind for a while.
Okay.
I mentioned I play some RPGs before, and these games, the concept and the environment in these games is mostly fantasy stuff, or you can find Vikings, or you can find Japanese culture, and it's great. I love it. But I always have this thing that I think it will be great when players can relate to the game, and the characters can a little more than just because of their personalities or anything. You know, I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
But
I mean, I from Denmark, we don't really have a lot of like games that has anything to do with Denmark at all.
Yeah. Well, it's something like that. It's just that I ask myself what will be to play a game the environments and everything that is happening, and the character of the animals is similar to everything you know from where you live. I think that can add something special to the game.
Yeah.
And I would like to make that someday. Obviously, that's not something I can do by myself, but a big RPG like this. But
You want it to be like a 3D game as well.
I'm a fan of the old style of JRPGs.
Okay.
But I don't know. It could be 2D or 3D, but as long as I feel fun and
Okay, as long as there's a good story as well, right?
yeah, exactly. I think that's probably my 2 dream scenario. If I can work on my games,
full time,
all the time, the full time, and making this game, that would be great.
So you just need to make a battle plan. Sell your game you're making now, so you make enough money to make your dream game. That's the spirit.
Oh my god.
But let's get into some more practical questions, because now we know. Well, we don't know enough about you, but we know something about you now. But we haven't actually talked about the game you're working on. And I know that you're currently working on a game called A Pretty Odd Bunny, and that it's chapter 2 of it. So let's hear. Tell me about the game. What is A Pretty Odd Bunny?
Pretty Odd Bunny is a game about a little bunny, a little red-eyed bunny that is allergic to carrots, and he likes to eat pigs.
Okay.
That's kind of the concept of the game. That's how the idea started. This is a bunny that eats pigs, and from there I tried to make a whole game. A
horror game or a whole game?
No, a whole.
Okay.
Game. And yeah. Well, it has some blood in it. I try to make it funny and not too horrific. But no, the gameplay is a stealth platformer, a stealth platformer, and the bunny can attack. This is something I wanted to do. This bunny is in this town full of other bunnies, but he can attack. He just wants to get to the pig, and the other bunnies don't want him to do that because he's weird. And the game you have to navigate these levels full of traps and puzzles in order to get to the peak at the end of the level. But you also will have to try to avoid all the other bunnies that try to stop you. You have to do it without them seeing you. So you have to be like a ninja bunny to get there without nobody seeing you.
So a stealth platformer bunny game about eating pigs.
Yeah.
Okay, that is very bizarre.
How does that sound?
Yeah, I don't know. I did give it a try, but yeah, it is. It's cute looking, but there will be blood. So yeah,
exactly.
But maybe not doom amounts of blood, but there will be blood.
At the beginning, people always ask me, well, I think you asked me that just a moment ago. What is the inspiration behind the game?
What is inspiration?
And I always say, I always try to think of another game that I could say, well, this game is inspired by these other games, but my mind keeps going to stuff like Tim Burton movies.
Tim Burton, okay.
And yeah, and I don't know, Happy Tree Friends.
Oh yeah, of course.
And this kind of stuff where you have cute characters that are doing stuff that are a bit bizarre or dangerous. I don't know. I kind of like that.
A bit of violence and
cute and dangerous. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know if everybody noticed that, but I'm kind of a big Nintendo fan, and the game graphics and this cute aesthetic is of course inspired by all the Nintendo platformer from the SNES era or the Game Boy Advance. But of course you won't find any blood on those games. But I took the aesthetic and the cute character and tried to do something extra, something different.
Okay. It sounds scary when you put it that way, but it's not that scary.
No, it's not scary. There is some blood there, and the fact that the bunny eats pigs, but I try to do it in a subtle way, so it is not too scary.
Okay. I know it's not scary, it's just funny. But speaking of the mix of cute and violent, who is the intended audience for that game? Is it for kids?
I have no idea.
You don't have an idea?
No, I don't know. No, let's see. I think Cave Story have something like that. I don't know if you remember the game don't have any blood, but the game can put this cute character in some very dangerous and difficult situation, and I like that as well. And I don't know, whoever like that game maybe could probably also like my game. And I don't know. I think maybe teens and anybody who likes this dark humor, where you mix these cute teens doing stuff that aren't so cute.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who like that. I mean, there's you, so.
Yeah, at least I can play myself and say yeah, I'm a fan.
That wasn't a stab. I'm sorry.
No, let's see. When I uploaded the game to Google Play, the first chapter of the game, that was a thing, because they ask one of the things they ask is that if the game is made for kids or not, and I didn't know how to answer that because well, it is not for kids, but kids can play it. But then it was a difficult situation because they rejected the game like a couple of times until I managed to figure out what was that they were asking for, and yeah, at the end the rating was teens, T for teens, and I think that is plus 16 or plus 13, I think.
Yep,
yeah,
PG-13 then.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't show it to a 8 years old or a 5 year old.
I mean, I don't think it'll scar them. It'll be okay.
Those kids are playing Fortnite and killing, killing people, killing each other. So well,
it's good to practice when you're young.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So you mentioned that it was chapter 1. So how long does the first chapter take to complete?
How long it takes to complete? The first chapter can be finished in around an hour.
Okay. And is that with the optional bacon coins included?
Yeah, that can give you a little more time. But no, I did some testing with some friends trying to finish the game and getting all the coins, and it was always around that 1 hour, an hour 15.
Okay.
Around that. The other chapters are a little shorter.
But you're working on the second one now.
No, the second one is finished. It's available.
Oh.
And I recently finished chapter 3 and chapter 4.
Oh.
So the game is pretty much complete. But I haven't released it.
Okay.
The remaining chapters. I'm working right now on polishing everything and trying to play tests and find problems in the levels and see if I can improve something. And yeah, making improvement and testing and trying to make sure everything is working fine. So I can release it complete. I want to make a new release with the whole game.
Okay.
All 4 chapters together.
But then why did you opt in for having it chapter based, like the releases?
Basically because chapter 1 took a long time to make. Took around a year to make. I think it was more than a year. And so I didn't want to put the game or at least that chapter to let it there on my laptop and nobody play it. So I wanted to put in the hands of the player and start getting feedback and start maybe trying to get an audience or people interested in the game. So I decided to release the first chapter and see the reaction. And yeah, and after I released the first chapter, I started with the second one. And that one took around 6 months, maybe, to be ready.
But it wasn't as long as the first one.
No, it has 5 chapters, 5 levels less.
Okay.
Chapter 1 have 25 levels, and the rest have 20 levels.
And you're selling the chapters individually, like so. Chapter 2 costs money. Yeah.
Chapter 1 can be downloaded for free, and chapter 2 is premium. It costs $2, $1.99.
Okay, $2. Okay.
Sorry, I will do the same for chapter 3. Will also be available the same way that chapter 2, and then I'm releasing the whole game for the complete package with all 4 chapters.
Okay, and that will When are you planning on releasing that actually?
I want the game to be ready this year.
Okay.
I don't want to say a date
No,
because
of
I
course
keep
not.
pushing it. But I want to have it ready this year. Like I mentioned, the game is complete. All the levels are ready, and I'm trying to test and polish
Mm-hmm.
as much as I can, and I want to get it out this year before this year ends.
Yeah.
At least a PC version and the mobile-based version.
So there's a mobile version of Chapter 1 as well.
Yeah. The mobile version of Chapter 1, actually, this was a surprise because I wasn't expecting the people to download the games so much. But it recently got reached 30,000 downloads on Android.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Okay.
that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's crazy. I don't know.
Congrats.
But yeah, but it's great. I don't know. I didn't plan the game as a mobile game.
No.
I only released it there because people started asking to play it on a mobile device, and I can't put it on Switch and on Nintendo Switch yet, and so the other way was putting it on mobile. And every time I talk about the game, people ask me, when is it coming to Android? When is it coming to Android? So I made an Android release and released it to try to see what happened. And yeah, surprisingly, the game had this many.
Yeah, it's really
downloads.
impressive. Is there also an iOS release, or is it only Android?
Not yet. I actually can't do that myself because I don't have the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking with some publishers to see if we can release it on iOS.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it is available on Android, the first chapter, and when it's ready, and I will release the complete edition on Steam, and also on Android. And the iOS version probably will be coming later.
Okay. We'll leave links to where they can find it as well. Like, I'll put it on the video, so no worries.
Awesome.
It's not like I get a lot of views. You have 30,000 downloads. You shouldn't worry.
Awesome.
It'll be fine. But yeah,
I don't know. I want to say those are my friends, but I don't know. Just saying that my friends got a lot of phones and started downloading the game.
Okay.
So that many downloads probably come from there.
Yeah, okay. Do you have a lot of friends then? If they, yeah, 30,000 times. I would be happy with like 2,000 downloads, to be honest. So you enjoy that. Yeah. So we kind of mentioned you're not a coder or a developer in that sense, but what tech stack do you use for your games?
I use Construct 3 I'm using right now.
What do you call it? Construct 3, or how do you spell it?
Construct 3.
Construct 3. Because I've never actually heard about this. Oh, there. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Aha. Okay. All right. Well, I'm also learning a bit here.
Oh, that's an amazing tool.
Aha. Okay.
Like I say, they sell it as a tool to make games without programming, without coding. That's not really true, but because you are coding, you are programming. The only difference is that you don't have to learn the language. Yeah, and you aren't typing the commands. You aren't typing in the code. You have the visual scripting tool that you can choose from there everything you need to make the idea of the game. If you have an idea for something, like say, I don't know, you want a platform to move in certain way, you can use everything the program offers to have that platform moving the way you want. And it's fantastic. I couldn't be making games if it wasn't for this tool. I started with Construct 2, and then recently they release a new version, Construct 3, and I'm working with that now.
I mean, I'm gonna have to take a look at this afterwards, to be honest, because I've never seen this, but it's apparently very famous.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just out of the loop.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny, but because people, when I was starting, people always say you have to go with Unity or Unreal. Every time in all the development groups,
Yeah.
People will say you have to go with Unity. You have to use Unreal. These are the real engines. And yeah, or making yourself from scratch.
Yeah, well,
But
no.
I didn't want I didn't want to spend too much time, and I didn't have the time to start learning that from scratch. And yeah, these two allowed me to start making games. I mentioned I feel more like a game designer than a game developer, so these two helped me to get the games done without having to spend too many years learning to code.
Yeah, it's a bit excessive for what you're making as well, to go into Unity or Unreal or even Godot.
Imagine that. I'm using
It's not really worth it.
Unreal to make a 2D platformer. Come on.
Yeah, that's a bit. Why? Why would you do that? Yeah. But you also make your graphics. What program do you use? It was
Yeah.
Inkscape, was it?
Inkscape, yeah.
Yeah. And is there any other tools you use?
No, I'm using Inkscape a lot. I started with that when I was doing this research, looking for tools to use in games, and Inkscape was great. I learned to use it. There's probably I've done some other software that are better, but that feels great to me, and I already feel comfortable with the software, so I keep using it. It's a vector-based software, so all my graphics are vectors.
They're beautiful. They are.
Oh,
Your game looks good. It's very visually
Thank you.
appealing. So, and I can see it's vector graphics. Hell yeah.
That's bizarre to me that you will say I say thank you, and people always say that not always, but some people say that they like the graphics, and that's just crazy to me.
Just take the compliment.
I learned to do that. I learned to do that just by trying and practicing.
I mean, I can't draw for the
So
life
it's
of me, so I'm impressed. But I've already asked this, but just to reiterate, how long did it take to develop the first chapter of Pretty Odd Bunny?
Yeah, the first chapter took around a year to complete. Yeah, I didn't mention it, but before at like 100 million years before, I made a version of the game.
Uh-huh.
The first version of the game was a web version, I tried to do pixel art, and it was this square. It wasn't widescreen, but a little square, and with pixel art, but it was the same concept of the game, of the bunny and the pigs, and it worked. It worked. I put it on Game Jolt and Newgrounds.
Oh, okay.
And people play it and like it, and then when I decided to start working on a commercial game, I went back and said, well, I didn't really make everything I wanted to do with the game. I was just starting, and my knowledge was super limited, and maybe I could try to get back today and remake it and try to get all these ideas I had and couldn't implement before, and yeah, I started remaking the game, and if you see it, you won't recognize it. It's very different.
Maybe I'll go looking for it.
That was yeah, you can find it. That was basically what is now chapter 1. That first version had 25 levels.
Oh,
That became chapter 1.
okay. But there's a pixel art version of it.
Yeah. That's the original version.
Okay.
was kind of pixel art. I do it with Inkscape as well, but I try to imitate the style of the pixel art style. And that had only 25 levels. It was very short.
All right. Yeah, I forgot to ask this. Since you have different chapters, is the gameplay different between them, the chapters, or is it the same gameplay?
Yeah, no, it is the same. It is essentially the same gameplay. The chapters are mostly like wars on a Mario game. Like you have the forest war or the sky war, and every war we will have several levels, and chapters in my game are something like that. Every chapter have unique graphics and music, for example, and new enemies and new challenge, but the gameplay is the same. I try to put some new mechanics in every chapter, but I didn't want to complicate too much the controls of the game, of the main character. I wanted to be easy to learn. And that's why the character only will have 2 actions. You can only jump and crunch, and that's it. You can do the bunny can do anything else. So in every chapter, after chapter 1, when you get to chapter 2, you can use a different ability, but the character doesn't learn it. I try to put it in the environment. So you will find, for example, chapter 2 is underground. So I put these spots where you can dig, where the character can dig. Okay. And every time the bunny is on top of that spot, you can dig, and he will appear somewhere else in the level. It's like a
tunneling.
Yeah, and that opened the gate to some nice puzzles in that chapter. And then in chapter 3, I added another ability that was also based on the environment, and then he can wear a mask to walk around everybody without nobody's noticing him. And yeah. I didn't want to complicate the character, so I put the abilities on the environment.
Okay. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, how if you're comfortable with answering this, have you made any money off your chapter 2 or other games that you've released? It's okay to answer with some.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I have not enough to make a living out of it, but enough to. I usually joke with this because I tell my wife I kind of want to link those accounts where the game is, link it to Nintendo accounts, because I keep buying games with the money I make with my
money in, money out.
So it is not that much, but it's enough to buy more games or equipment or anything to make more games.
It's more than nothing, so that's good.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you're in contact with a publisher regarding releasing the game on iOS, but are you willing to work with publishers for other things, like for your future games, or is it just this one-time thing?
No, absolutely. Let's see. I make this game thinking of consoles. I didn't make it to be a mobile game.
No.
Or at least I didn't think of it like that. I make it thinking it will be on consoles. So, for example, I add gamepad support from the start, because I wanted people to play with a gamepad. So my dream will be to have the game released on consoles, every console, especially the Switch. But I don't know, it's a bit difficult. It's not that easy because there is some limitation there with the software. But it is possible. It is possible, and yeah, I would like to work with publisher on that. I actually contact a publisher for a possible console release, and actually they were the ones who suggested me to keep working and finish all the rest of the chapters. Okay. I contacted them when I finished chapter 1, and the game had 25 levels, and yeah, they said that they were interested, but the game was a bit short for a console release. Yeah. So yeah, they suggested to make more levels. So I kept working, and that's why I tried to finish every other chapter that I had planned. I always planned the game to have 4 chapters, but it was, since I spent so much time working on chapter 1, I thought it was going to be too long to make the whole game. So well, I had to learn to make things faster and try to finish all the chapters. Yeah. And well, now the game is ready, I'm planning to contact them again to see if we can agree on something. Okay. For console release.
That's really cool. You're going places.
That's a big dream. If that happened, I don't know.
Let's hope it goes well. You're gonna have to come back so I can ask you how it goes.
I'll go for it. I come back anytime.
That is great. So I have a few questions on the way out here. They're quite long questions, but
okay.
Yeah. I like this question for Adrian, so let's see what you have to say. If you could change one thing about the game industry, what would it be?
Let's see. Can I get serious on this one?
Yeah, get serious. Please do.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I was born in Venezuela, and I'm currently living in Colombia. So there's a thing that nobody mentioned, that is very difficult for people to develop games when we are outside the big countries. So yeah, one thing I would like to change will be to make the industry to open up a little more. Every time I watch this GDC conference or interviews with other developers, they frequently mention how important these events are to show your game. Okay. So they always mention how important it is to go to events, to go to conference and show your game, and speak to publishers and have conversation with publisher and other developers.
Yeah, and socialize.
To make to make connections and all this. But I can't really do that. The only thing I can do is to send an email or talk through Twitter or something. Yeah. And it's not really the same. No. So it will be great if this conference and these big events can start making more online events. So so we can, people from around the world can have the option to at least apply to the conference and maybe have a chance there. I saw that this year with all the COVID thing, a lot of conferences started making online events. So we have the tech to do that.
Yeah, and I mean now it is happening. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So it is possible. I hope after this go away, they consider keep making these online events so more people can have a chance to participate.
Yeah, I understand it can be quite hard to get a hold of people online. because they might not even check their email or their Twitter or whatever, and it just gets drowned in a sea of spam. So yeah, okay. So what is something you absolutely detest about developing games?
What I don't like, I don't like marketing. I don't
You
like
don't like
to
marketing?
I don't like to sell my game. I will, for me it will be perfect if I can work in a game and finish it and start working on another one and don't have to worry about anything else. But unfortunately it doesn't work like that.
No.
So marketing, I always say marketing is a worst part of making games. It isn't even a part of making the game, but also it is kind of pretty important.
It's part of making money off of your game, but it's not part of making the game. Yeah. Yeah. What is something you love about it, though?
What is something that I love? Let's see. Something I love about making games that will be, you know, when I released my first games, I didn't expect people too many people to play them. So it was crazy when I saw the first time someone made a video playing my game.
Really? Did someone do that?
That was crazy. So I think what I love, one of the things I love about making games will be watching people react or discover something that you put on the game. Sometimes we put an Easter egg, or we can make some different route on a level for people to discover. And when I see someone discovering that or laughing at some silly job I put on the game, and that's special. I think that make a special connection between the developer and the player. And I love that.
I get that. That's a very noble thing. Let's see here. Yes. Do you have any practical advice for other indie game developers?
Well, I don't feel like I know enough to give advice at this point. But I don't know. I don't feel I'm at that level yet. But yeah, something that people told me a lot when I started was that it was important to start making the game. You know, I don't know. This happened everywhere with anything, any creative process. You keep thinking about it. You keep planning. You keep making this long list of things that you want to do, but you never start. And yeah, I think it is important to if you want to make a game, you start making a game. We have been talking about different tools that help you do it. If you don't know some part of the game, that will be the programming or something. There are tools that can help you do it. So I don't think there is too many excuses. You can, if you want to do it, start. It is important. Even if the first thing you do sucks, it doesn't matter because you are learning every time you do something. So that thing is very important. So to start and
just do it.
Identify
That's copyrighted.
And identify your weakness. I think it is important to know what you don't, to identify what you don't know, what you need to learn to be better in what you do. So yeah, I would say start and keep practicing, and doesn't matter if at first it doesn't look like you want, but you're learning. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and another thing. This is I think maybe important. Another thing I see a lot when people are starting and people ask what engine they should use.
Oh yeah.
And they get a lot of comments for people telling them what they should use and what is the right tool and what is the right engine and how is the right way to do things, and this can discourage a lot of people. So I think it is important to try different things and see what works for you, and if something works for you, go with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good advice. It's not always the tools either. I mean, it's not really the tools that make the game.
Yeah.
It's the work more than anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
All right. I mean, we've kind of heard it, but do you have, like, what else do you have planned for the future?
Yeah, well, this year I want to focus on finishing the game and contacting the publisher and see what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
I plan to release the game on Steam on my own and on Android also. I want to do it myself, but well, I need to contact publisher for other releases, potential releases, and I will be focused on that the rest of the year. But I already started making some prototype for some game ideas for after I finish this. I would like to do some smaller mobile games. I want to make a game that I specifically made for mobile, not that I port.
Yeah.
Something that is made for touch control. That's something I want to try before I start making something big.
Okay. You're gonna have to tell me about it. But a mobile game next, after all this Odd Bunny games.
I have this playing Paper Mario recently, the new Paper Mario. I never tried the other ones, but playing this one I went back and tried the original, and this game have something that I was always curious about, making something that feels like an RPG, but it's easier to play. It's not that complicated, because RPG tend to put a lot of options and settings, and that can complicate the gameplay. So the games go for a more easy approach, more easy to understand. And I was thinking that maybe it would be cool to make to find a way to make an RPG work on mobile with touch control. I don't think I have seen something like that. I seen port. I seen port of classic games on mobile. But something that is built for that I haven't seen, so I'm kind of curious if that can be made.
But that's not really a small project, it sounds like.
When you think about the idea, it sounds easy, and it sounds like you can make it quickly, but then you start working on it, and it's been 10 years and you still Okay. I don't know. Maybe I can do it. I mean,
you'll just make a prototype, and you can see how long the prototype took to make, and then you can decide if you want to dedicate the rest of the year to do that. Yeah, but that about reaches the end of the podcast. So I'm gonna have to ask you, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm always on Twitter. That's where I'm trying to keep updating constantly with info about the game and about the development. And I'm at _AJ Ordas, AJ Ordas, on Twitter.
I'll add a link.
Yeah, and I'm also sharing some stuff on Instagram, AJ Ordas that games, and that's where I'm mostly sharing my stuff. I recently started trying to make videos on YouTube. I want to share the process of making the games there. I just started too recently, and I don't have a link for that yet.
Okay.
But when I have it, I will put it on Twitter. So yeah.
Okay. So Twitter mainly, but I'll leave a link in the description.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then thanks for coming on.
No, thank you for giving me this opportunity, even if I can barely speak.
It went really well. There's nothing to note.
Oh, great. Great.
But hopefully you can come back and we can talk about how it went once you have A Pretty Odd Bunny released, and maybe you're working with publishers at the time. If we talk again in a few months or a year. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Then,
yeah.
thanks a lot, AJ.
Thank you.